Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here. So today I'm going to attempt to do page 12 in my volume of the dolls. As you can see, not that many pages left to go, so we are getting towards the end of the journal. So I haven't kind of decided whether or not I'm going to do a second journal or not. I've still got quite a few of the paper dolls left, but I might have something else to do with what bits and pieces are remaining. But until I get to the end of the journal, I'm not going to make any decisions at all. So today I've got the journal open, another double page spread. And I've gathered some bits and pieces around me. I've got some stencils, just a little pile of stencils here that I don't know whether I'm going to use. I'm just going to draw and pull from what I've got around me. So I've got some sheets from a couple of Tim Holtz paper pads. These are the smaller ones where they've been divided up into 6x6s and tiny little smaller patterned blocks that I don't tend to use very often. So I'm going to try and use up some of those as well. I've also got a printout of some vintage maps which I want to try and include into the background. Now these have been done to the right size for the page, so I'm going to start off just by tearing these. I'm going to do them with a ruler. So they're not going to be perfect, but again they're not going to be too wavy either, so I'm just going to roughly trim the edges off using that. So, and of course I'm going to allow the colour theme for the page to be dictated by the bits of ephemera and stuff that I'm putting in. So I'm looking at what I've got so far, and there's actually a little bit of, there's quite a bit of kind of like reds and pinks in these. So that's probably going to end up being one of the complementary colours that I'm going to use in the journal, but also there's some creams and browns as well, so it's going to be maybe a browny pinky kind of page today. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. I'm quite looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like at the end myself, because at this stage I've got no idea. So it's just going to be what I call a suck it and see job. We'll let the actual page dictate how it's going to look. It probably would be easy if I did it the other way, wouldn't it? Let's see if I can hold it tight enough. Push down that way. There we go. Much easier. A little bit more weight up that side there. Let's try and see if we can get that off. What was that? Was that a piece of news coming through or an email? Oh, my Disney Plus payment's gone out. Okay, now that we can have it. Right, so deliberately printed about the size to cover the text on this one, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to glue these down using matte medium. So I've got, actually, shall I use matte medium or shall I use glue? Let's use glue for a change. Oh, let's see if I can get the top off this glue stick. Let's try a different one. Ah, that was easy. That was easy. I've got an electronic device that does that.
That was easy.
See? I should use that more often, shouldn't I? Right, bit of scrap paper. What's some scratch paper? Let's see all this. There we go. I've got a piece of scrap paper there. So let's put some glue down on this. Not wet glue this time. What I class as a dry glue. Just as good. So that should work. So we'll put that one at this side. A little bit of wiggle room on this. That should do us about there. Just give that a little bit of a rub, and then the other side, do the edges. I know I did a very quick kind of pickup of this glue, but I'll show you which one it is in a moment if you don't recognise it. That should do. It's one of the Dilutions diary glue sticks from Diane Reefley. Okay, so this side, see if we can just try and line it up a little bit, just so there's a little bit. About there, do you reckon? Is that about even? I'll do then. Okay, so we'll start off with those down on the page, then we'll start building up a few kind of clusters. So let's have a look at this page here. Kind of like these envelopes. So let's get that cut out. What we got? So we've got this one. Like that. And then we've got this one here. Nicely layered. This really is just a, I don't know really what I'm doing. I have got a kind of image in my head, but it's not a fixed one. Not a fixed idea at all. Just a kind of vague idea of what I want to do, what I want to say. So I'm happy to see where this takes us. There's that one. So we've got a couple of nice like envelope-y, postcardy images. So we've got 3 about there. And what else have we got? What else can we use? There's a little bit of a cluster over here. No, we'll just use that one on its own. So what I'm trying to do is just kind of create some kind of frame across the bottom, maybe. Let's see, we've got 2 there. We can maybe just trim out like that. Might just have 1 or 2 popping in at the top. I ain't bothered if they're not full envelopes, as long as you get the idea. Yeah, I think that'll do for now. I might add a few other bits and pieces, so let's get that glue stick. Add some glue onto the back of that. So we'll do those coming in from the side of the page. Maybe a bit higher. Maybe just there. And then we'll stick this one down. I'm just going by instinct, if you like. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I don't know. Just overlap it slightly. That's okay. Let's do another one up this side. Like that. Then we'll have the smaller one. I don't know what Ian's doing in his workshop today, but he's making a lot of noise down there. Banging and clattering and drilling sounds. He must be on creative flow today. There we go. Like that. Okay, what else have we got? So we've got this sheet as well. So this is from a different paper pad, but it's got a few little elements that can be cut up and used. Maybe that one. Okay, kind of like those kind of diary pages there. So maybe just the one, cut that down the middle. Now I'm not distressing anything just yet. I'm not adding any kind of distress around the edges because I'm going to add a little bit of a colour over the top. So let's bring that in there. Alright, so where's the next bit? So what else have we got? A nice little piece there. Or should we use that bit there with the typewriter keys on? Yeah, I think so. I like that. They're kind of like ready-made clusters, aren't they? Let's cut that piece out. Don't want all of it. Just cut there, there. Yep, like that bit. So I'm going to do that one up here. Just kind of building up a little bit of a frame around the page. The thing about these glue sticks is that they do wear down quite quickly. Not that it's a problem. All our local art stores are shut. So if you run out of anything at the moment, it's potluck. You have to try and find something in one of the supermarkets or make do with what you've got. So now we've got that. Let's see what else we've got on one of these. I think I might use this bit up here. Just add a little bit towards the top. Like I said, I'm not being 100% pure careful. Let's stick that up there. And yes, I don't mind that it's upside down, because that's just the way I'm rolling today. So what else have we got that we can maybe use? Maybe a little bit over there. Some of this graph paper looks quite good. Let's cut that and stick some of that down. go. I think maybe just something just down here. Maybe some more of those postcards or letters. What have we got? That one there. Just to kind of break up that line. And then let's try this one. Kind of just talking out loud here, so I might not make any sense. I don't normally. A little bit of glue on the page, just give it a rub, it should come off. That'll do. That'll probably get covered up anyway, there you go, it's come off. Okay, so I've created a kind of background which is fine. So we've just broken up those pages with a few points of interest. So now I'm going to go over the top with some, he says, gesso. A little bit of white gesso. So we've got some white gesso, but I'm going to mix in some brown. So I've got some vintage photo, which I'm just going to put onto my craft mat there, just a little bit of brown colour. Take some pins, just mix in a little bit of that colour. So it's just gone off white. You might not be able to actually see that very well, because it is kind of subtle. There we go. Just add some of that to the page, which just kind of knocks it back a little bit. Not a huge amount, but enough. Now then, perhaps if I add, I've got a re-inker, vintage photo re-inker. So if I just take some of that and drop one little drop. There you go, you see? Another use. Another use for your stash. Tad of water. And then if you want just to add a little bit more white to it, just so you've got like a whitewashy effect. Can't go wrong with that, can you? Okay, so let's just add a bit more of that. Tiny little drop, that'll do. And then some water. And then we'll do the other side. Bit more water. I know some of the bits will be covered up to the point where you might not be able to see what they are, but that's alright. And then just a tad more white, just to lighten it up. That'll do. Okay. I'll get that dried, that cleaned up, and then I'll be back in a minute or so. Okay, so as you can see, the gesso has dried and died back. It's knocked back some of the pattern, the images, but you can still see what they are underneath. So even though you've got that coating, that kind of unification coating over the top, you can still see the elements poking through, which is exactly what I wanted to happen. So the next step is I'm going to start introducing my paper dolls. And I'm going to start introducing them from the left hand side, going right, well, I say it's actually from the outside, working my way to the inside. So I'm going to put this lady here with this lady here, and then I'm going to put her, I think maybe there, and there, and then at this side I'm going to put him alongside them, with this young lady there. So maybe just space them out a little bit, just kind of try and adjust them so that their perspectives and sizes kind of make sense. I want this lady to the front, so maybe put her towards the back, and then have him a little bit further forward, have her just there, or maybe even just swap her over, because she's a little girl with the other little girls, and maybe just put him a little bit further back there, like so. Yeah, I think like that. So I'm going to glue those down with liquid glue. So we'll start at this side. Okay, so just lift her up, and then I can put her towards the edge. Don't kind of mind where the bits of ephemera are poking up, that's okay. Then I'm going to stick these two girls down at this side. Okay, plenty of glue on. Like so. And then let's put some on her, and we'll stand her just like that. That's it. Okay. So she's to the front, then her, so we'll start off with him. Again. We'll get him stood over there. And then we'll put, these two remind me of a young Italian couple, I don't know why. I want to call him Giuseppe. do, they just remind me of a young Italian couple. And this young girl I want to call Trudy. Don't know why. It's kind of fun to name these characters. And she can go just there. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to leave these for a few minutes. So the glue can grab. Ooh, that shine. Don't like that shine. I've got a nice kind of group of characters. So they need to just sit and grab for a minute or two. So I shall leave those to stick down, to set, and then I will be right back. Okay, so we're back, and as you can see, everything is now stuck down perfectly. And also, while my camera was recharging, because it was a little bit flat, I took the time just to give the paper dolls a quick coat over with some clear gesso, and all I used was the Art Basics clear gesso, just to get rid of that shine. Now there is a little bit left just here. You can just about pick that up. Just on that little girl's face there, I kind of must have missed that, and there's a tiny touch just about there, but I can always just touch those up at a later date. So all that shine has now gone. But, and I'm hoping the camera's picking this up, back at the beginning of doing this art journal page, I did say that there was some pinkish elements in the actual backgrounds. Now, as you can see with the gesso and that distressing, the vintage photo distressing, it kind of has turned it a little bit pinky. Now that's due to the pigments that are in the ink being watered down. So there is actually quite a lot of pinky kind of tones, or warm tones, in that vintage photo distressing. So that pink has come through quite more prominently than I actually thought it would do, to be honest. But hey ho, these are the things that you know we have to deal with, and particularly when it's not planned. Anyway. So I wanted to add a little bit of stenciling into the background of this page. So I've pulled out just 3 different stencils here. So I've got my trusty and faithful Arties. So this is one of the first stencils that I ever purchased when I started art journaling. It's called Arties, and it's from Crafters Workshop, TCW. I don't know whether it's still available or not. I'm sure it will be. It's probably one of their best sellers. So I want to add a little bit of stenciling up at the top here. So I'm just going to grab a foam. Now, I did have one that I kept specifically for vintage photo, but it seems to have disappeared off. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to add a little bit of vintage photo, but this is the archival vintage photo rather than the water-based one, so I want this to be permanent. So I just want to add a little bit. Now this is a bit scratchy because it's old. A little bit of text just in that background up there. It's going to be subtle. It's not going to be real strong. In fact, you can barely see it. Look, my distressing is actually, in fact, it's on its way out. I need to get a re-anchor for it. So let's just, in fact, let's just dispense with the brown altogether. Let's see if we can bring some green in. So we've got some peeled paint archival. Let's see if this is any juicier. Much juicier. And I think adding a little bit of green in there would actually help a little bit. So I'm just going to go around in circles. That's it. I can see the green going through now. So just add a little bit of that green. That's better. It's a little bit better going through there. We'll add a little bit more at the top up here. This stencil has definitely seen better days. There we go. So that green comes across, and we can just pick up a little bit of it down here at the bottom if you want. just to add a little bit of kind of text elements just about there. Okay, so that's out the way. Mr. Bentley's just got out of bed. Hello, Mr. Bentley. I'm just looking at him. He's staring. Hello. What are you doing? What are you doing? No, he's just staring at me. Okay, so I want to add. There we go. So I'm going to use the next stencil. This is bubble wrap. So this is again from my collection, and I want to use some Dusty Concord, some pinky purpley kind of elements in this. So I'm going to add a little bit of that up here. So I'll just take that clip off for a second and just bring that down a little bit. Just add a little bit in the middle, either side. Because we'll not get it right into the crease there. But I'm also going to just turn it round and add a little bit towards the bottom here. Just so you've got a little bit there also. And maybe just a tad at this side. And it's just adding some colour kind of interest points. Just going over the top of that chappie's head there, but that's okay, just kind of blends it in a little bit. And I don't think we're going to be able to get into that corner, just to extend. Maybe if I just push a little bit harder. There we go, we can get in a little bit further there. And then just to finish off, I think I will try and use that brown and just add a few brownish circles. That's if I can get any of that colour picked up. And we'll just add a few of those smaller ones just up here. Just as kind of little dark accents. You can just see them coming through up there. So let's move that over there. Bring that round. That's going to add a little bit of darkness in the background. So you just get to see them just starting to come through a little bit down here at the bottom. Or on the page, I should say. Moved slightly, it's okay. When they start to dry out, you have to start working just that little bit harder to get the colour through. There we go. It's a darky kind of page with those brown and dark brown elements. So we'll just give the page a little bit of a... I might have to bring in the water-based one now. Let's have a look. Because I recently re-inked this one, so I know it's a bit juicier. There you go. A definite vintage vibe on this page. Get that corner. Purple's not my favourite colour, but sometimes I'd still use it even though it isn't my favourite colour, because why limit your colour palette? You know, it might not be the one that you're very fond of, but there are so many different shades of of purple going into the blues to the reds that, you know, it would be a shame just to cut an entire chunk of expression, if you like, out of your play palette. But that's why even though I'm not all that keen of that colour, I still incorporate bits of purple now and again into my art journal page. Now I'm just trying to find my Stabilo All pencil. It's only a little one now. There it is. Little one. It's just a little one. And I'm going to add just a little bit of shadow just to ground the characters, and I'm doing it just underneath water brush. There we go. I've got my little water brush and I'm going to just start to activate it, and I'm going to push the colour up from underneath. So just to add a little bit of kind of drop shadow to where your little characters are standing. And down here. So it helps to add a little bit. Very subtle in places. Might just need to add a little bit more there. Just to add a touch more. Just a little darker. And then maybe just a little here. There we go. Okay, so I'll get that dried off, then I'll meet you back when it's done. Okay, so that shadow, that grounding is nice and dried. Now I want to add some little splattery highlights just towards the top. So I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper. Now where's that piece of paper that I used earlier for the glue? And I'm just going to lay it across the top there. So this is exposed. And I've got some white gesso. And I'm just going to grab my fan brush that's been sitting in some water, and that's just going to loosen that up a little bit, and I'm just going to add a few kind of white splatters towards the top, and then I'm going to flip it and just add some down towards the bottom. Don't mind it going on the feet, but I don't want it going on the faces. So we'll flip that round. There we go. So I need to get that dried off now. And then when that's dry, I'll be back. Let's just move those out of the way. Okay, so the white splatters are dry now, gone quite subtly into the background at the top, a little bit more prominent down there at the bottom. If I'd used white acrylic paint rather than gesso, those white splatters would be more prominent. Because I've used gesso, they have died back a little. So if I'd wanted brighter, then white acrylic would be the way to go. So more subtle, use gesso. Right, so I'm just going to pop that to one side. So I now want to add in my quote for the page, and to do that I've printed off on my computer just the quick small phrase, "We our family. I've got that original piece of paper that we used to cut up to add our bits in, so I want to put a little bit of glue on the back of that, and then I'm going to stick it down onto that paper, and I'm going to put it just like so. And then I grab my scissors, and then I'm just going to create a little bit of a matted border, or layered, if you like calling them layers rather than mats. And then while I've still got the distress ink out, I can just quickly go around the edges. And this obviously just helps to blend it all together. That should just about do it, I think. And then add some glue onto the back of there. And then I can stick that down onto my page just there. And then I can just take my little Stabilo oil pen, just to add a little bit of a drop shadow just underneath. Again, just real subtle, doesn't have to be in your face. Just add little bits at a time and you can build up. It's easier to add than it is to take away. I think that is me for today, at least anyway. I can just, if I wanted to, just add excuse me, could do with a drink. Left it downstairs. Just take a small brush, a real small brush, and I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that ink onto the brush, and then I can just add in some details, just to kind of tie it all together. Tint a little bit. And then maybe a little bit of colour to this chappie's hat. Nice and subtle. Just kind of helps to bring it all together. Just to pick out a few of the colours. Now, do I have another little brush? I do, so I'm going to get that green. And maybe just add a little bit of green into there too. And then maybe just subtle touches. See, green and purple, suffragette colours, so it's kind of apt because she's about the right sort of time. And you just add just hints of colour. Just to kind of tie it all together. It's very subtle. You don't have to go mad. So that'll do, I think. So all I need to do now is just to sign and date this one. So I'm going to sign it down here, and today's date is the 31st of March. So not sure when this is going to get uploaded, but it certainly isn't going to be tonight because that has been taken over by Ian. So this one will probably go live maybe Thursday the 2nd probably. So if you're seeing this on Thursday the 2nd or after that date, haha, I was right. So that's all from me for now. I hope you enjoyed watching me put that art journal page together. If you did, please remember to give the video a thumbs up. If you're so inclined, share it with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. Not many pages left to go. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.